Oh dear.
That was a apologies to everybody watching. David sneezing as a welcome to this morning's 100-word challenge. So good to be with you again. I'm just having a look at the list of schools that are signed up to. We had a couple more this week. Worcester Bay School in New Zealand have signed up, which is great that you're joining us, and Lindenow South Primary School in Australia have joined up. So we've got a few Australian schools, schools in Bangkok, schools in New Zealand, schools in Nigeria, schools in the United States, Forest Ridge Academy, and lots in England and indeed in Ireland. So it's great that so many schools from all over the world are joining the project. Teachers, we really want to see you commenting on the children's posts, because it's really important that when children are writing on the 100-word challenge, they need to know that you've read their work, and you can show them that you've done that by leaving them a comment. So that's a really important part of the 100-word challenge, is that the children receive feedback on their writing. So last week's challenge, we were looking at, mine was I think a speech from the Prime Minister or President, or whoever you want it to be, really, excuse me, to aliens who have landed. Pies, you were writing about
Oscar. The Oscar.
Oh, an Oscar acceptance speech. Oh, yes, that was very topical. An Oscar acceptance speech for a particular Oscar that you might be up for. And David, you were writing about the ogre that moved in next door, if I recall correctly. Yep. So I'm just going to pick one that I spotted. Now, I'm not even going to attempt the school's name. And I remember when this school signed up, I requested from the teacher that they sent me a bit of audio recording so I could get the pronunciation right, but I can't remember. But that's the name of the school there. Which
yes.
is in Ireland. I've never Gaelic is a language which I think is it sounds fantastic. The spelling is completely it just throws me completely. So I think the person who wrote this is called Saoirse. I hope I got that right, but I'm not entirely certain. Dear aliens, I am Prime Minister of England. I've seen your spaceship hovering over London for the past couple of days. I have tried to ignore it, but I know I can't. Put writing this request for it. Put off. I think you probably put off writing this request forever. I haven't addressed the issue to the public as I don't want to startle them. I'm sure we can find your tribe a nice planet to live on. Some sort of best real estate agent on Mars. I'm sure Mars will be the perfect temperature for aliens, I hope. Please don't invade my beloved country. Please reply in the next couple of days. So very good, Saoirse. You might want to reread next week when you do your challenge to make sure you've got every sentence excuse me, making complete sense. And but otherwise, thank you, well done for writing. And quite a few people who did this quest, they lost, you've only got 100 words, so they lost a whole load of time explaining that aliens were landing. So it actually meant that you couldn't really use your 100 words to give the speech from the Prime Minister. So when you're doing the 100-word challenge, you've got to make, sometimes you have to make assumptions that the audience already knows about what's happening. So you did exactly what I hoped, and that was just write the speech bit, not the story setup. So Pie, have you got one to read?
I have, yes. A number of Oscars were awarded. There was one that was awarded for terrible singing, which is one that I could probably have a good go at and might well win. But the one I've chosen is, I hope I say your name right, Harder, from Wellington College in Bangkok. This is another one which I could be a good contender for this one. Thanks, everyone, for saying that I'm clumsy. Actually, I won this Oscar because I'm very clumsy. I'm very happy and proud of myself that I've won this award. I usually fall down a lot and I knock over my water at least every day. One time I accidentally used my finger instead of my toothbrush. That means I put toothpaste on my finger. I would like to thank my mum, dad, sister, grandma, grandpa, and 2 of my dad's brothers. I don't quite know whether there are other brothers, but anyway, 2 of them come into it. They have supported me all along and have been taking care of me every day until now. So I rather like that one, an award for being clumsy. David, what did you get? Because you had The Ogre Next Door, which appealed to a lot of people, that one.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety. There's a huge variety, actually, of different types of entries that came in. And the one I've chosen is one where they don't know yet. They know something's a bit odd next door because strange things are happening. I quite liked that. So I'm going to read this one out. This is from Sophia from Abbey CV School, Primary School. So this is Sophia's. It's called Crazy Neighbours. There's something very strange. No, there's someone very strange living next door. Firstly, they had a 10-foot bed delivered yesterday that came with pillows as big as my dad. Last night, there was rumbling sounds next to my bedroom, which I heard from their bedroom. So noisy. Outside their house, they've got wellies as big as a paddling pool. Oh my gosh. They've just had a delivery of food, including 27 bags of pretzels and a 4-foot-high birthday cake. I hope I'm invited to the party. Then a huge truck came filled with candles. I wonder how old they are. There we are. I like that one, just full of questions.
Yeah, I like the end. The final sentence is really good.
Yeah.
Well, so on to this week's 100-word challenge. So my challenge is ways to cross a river. One of the things that I love doing is making model kits. Particularly used to do this lots when I was a child. And one of my favorite ever model kits, because it was ferociously complicated to build, was a thing called a Churchill tank bridge layer. And it was basically, what it was is a tracked tank, and it had a bridge on top of it, and the tank would rumble up to the river, and then it would use these long arms that would extend and plonk the bridge over the river. So if I was crossing a river, I'd get my Churchill tank bridge layer to a friend to come along and put a bridge over the river for me. But there are lots and lots of ways to cross the river. And it kind of depends on how big the river is as well. So that could be an issue, that because a Churchill tank bridge layer will only drop a bridge across quite a small river. If the river's too big, it's not going to work. So how big's your river? How are you going to get across it? David?
Yeah, I'm going to go for one about your a pet, or a pet, cat or dog, or it could be any kind of pet, really, if you do have a pet. And it's what they would say if they could talk. Okay. Now, this can be, you might not want to do loads of speech here, because that could be, if you're not as confident with writing speech, you could write about what the types of things they would say to you. I mean, I've got a dog. I know John's got a couple of dogs. Pie, have you got a cat?
Oh, we had a cat. Yeah, we've always had a cat. When I was a kid, we had at one point, we lived on a farm. At one point, there were 27 cats.
Oh, wow.
But they were farm cats.
Yeah.
And we always had dogs. So, I mean, there must
Yeah.
be a lot of cat and dog conversation going on there.
Well, that's right. And either they could be talking to each other, which I'm sure they do. Animals do communicate with each other.
Yeah.
We just don't really know what they're saying or how they're saying it. Or it could be talking to you. I mean, my dog, he kind of talks to me with his face. His eyebrows might change. His ears might flop. His head goes from side to side when he's looking at you and thinking about, does that word begin with W? Does it rhyme with stalk? So you can see what they're thinking. So what would it be? Would it be about food? Would it be about walks? Might it be about how much they love you? Maybe they might be annoyed with you for something. But what is it that they'll be saying to you or to each other if they could talk? So that's my challenge this week.
Okay, loving it. Okay, mine one is recipe. I think we may have done recipes before. I can't remember. But recipe for a happy life. So have a think about some of the things that some of the ingredients that you would put in and say, well, actually, for a happy life, when I was younger, one of the things I used to really, really want was a Coca-Cola machine. So at any point, I could go to this machine, with my cup, and it would give me fresh, cold Coca-Cola. And I
wonder why your parents never indulged that particular whim, Pie.
Teeth are, I'll be talking to you like this.
Yeah.
So, I'm a bit past that now. I don't really want a Coca-Cola machine. The other thing I was desperate for was a thing called a pop gun. This is going back, 60 years now, but pop guns, I was obsessed with these things.
Well, nowadays, they're called Nerf guns, Pie.
Nerf guns.
Yeah. So they're Nerf guns fire little polystyrene darts, and children of a certain age love sneaking up on people and unloading the contents of their Nerf gun at them.
Okay. Well, you're going to have to, for a recipe for a perfect life or a happy life, you're going to have to think of some things that you would really, really love to have, real things that you would really love to have. And you could write it a bit like a recipe if you wanted to, but I'm interested in the ingredients. The main ingredients for a happy life for the perfect life would be, and have a think of, 5, 6, 7, 8 things that you think would be really, really good to have. And you can have a bit like going on Desert Island Disc, John. You can have anything that you ask for.
Absolutely. Well, that's it. Interesting. So that's the 100-word challenge for this week. Ways to cross a river. What would your dog say to you? And a recipe for a happy life. So we will see you next time for the next session of a 100-word challenge. So bye from me.
Yeah, bye everyone.